What's up, guys? Today I want to take a quick second and talk to you about a bait that's very overlooked in the fall and winter months. Now here in Pennsylvania, the fishing has been very, very slow the last couple of weeks. I don't know if it's because of these cold nights or this wind or just the weird weather we've been having so far. Like, we've been having a lot of warm weather, and then it goes right down to the 50 degree mark, and then at night it gets down to 40. So it's really messing these fish up, especially in the creeks. The creeks, especially which I'm on right now, the water gets a lot colder. The water gets a lot colder faster than the lakes around here. Just what I've experienced. On the creek especially, I have to start my fall fishing tactics earlier than lakes or ponds even. Something a lot of people never heard of or heard of it and don't know much about it. It's called the Ned rig. I have a 1/8 ounce jig head with a little piece of Senko on it. Now I do have this chartreuse dye just because the fishing here I feel like feed on bluegill a lot, especially the largemouth. So I have a little bit of chartreuse on the end just to imitate something like a bluegill. What I'm trying to imitate with this Ned rig right now is maybe a small bluegill or even a crawfish just slowly dragging on the bottom or just hopping around on the bottom. I'm going to show you how to fish a Ned rig, retrieval, where to fish a Ned rig, and how to rig a Ned rig. We'll start with location on fishing the Ned rig. Now there's a weed edge right there where you can see the weeds there, and then there's a weed edge on the other side as well. And what I'm doing is I'm casting in between the two weed edges, and there's rock piles in between the two weed edges, and that's where them smallmouth are going to be hanging out looking for anything to ambush that comes out of the weeds, like crawfish or like bluegill. Another thing is I'm fishing in calmer water right now because the water that is calmer in the creek tends to be a little bit warmer than the water that's moving. And the smallmouth in the winter, they do not want to be moving. They want to be sitting and not using as much energy as possible. More set of rapids upstream, and I have a set of rapids down here. So I'm fishing in between a little hole where these fish are kind of sitting still and just not using energy. Now, a lot of people don't know how to fish the Ned rig, but a lot of people know how to fish a small tube, a 3-inch, 3 1/4 tube. Basically the same thing. It's a 1/8 ounce jig head, just what I had on me. And what you're going to want to do is, like I said before, with the weed edges I have here, I want to throw it on the as close as I can to the opposite side of the bank on the weed edge. And I don't want to get it hung up in the weeds. That's the worst thing you do because you can spook fish or anything like that. I want to pitch it on the edge of the weed edge, and on top of the rocks. I know there's rocks out here. I can see them, but I also know because I've marked them. Now I'm going to flip it right on that weed edge right there. Now, a lot of people, as soon as they cast their bait, they're going to start moving it right away. What I like to do is I like to sit, because the fish will see it fall, and they'll just look at it. And they'll just look at it until you finally just twitch it. I like to let it sit for a couple seconds after I cast the bait, and I'll imagine in my head that the fish is looking at it. As soon as I twitch it, it'll eat it. Now, when you're working this bait on the bottom, you don't want to engage your reel as much when you're working the Ned rig. You kind of want to either lift your rod tip or kind of drag it on the bottom with the long sweep. Now when you get a bite on this Ned rig, it's either going to feel like a couple ticks or it's going to just feel like heavy weight. And when you set the hook, you do not want to lift on it like a jig or a frog. You just want to basically just start reeling or just kind of slowly lift. A reel set. That's what I like to call it, a reel set. Kind of set the hook with your reel. Now to rigging. Well, rigging the Ned rig is probably one of the simplest things. It's probably one of the easiest things you could do. The whole key to this Ned rig is this flat head right here. You can see this is flat. And what it does, it sits on the bottom and it just looks up. Kind of like that. Now when you rig this Ned rig, you want it to be almost straight, but I like to have the tail of the half of the Senko kind of facing out a little bit. That kind of gives it a little bit more action, I feel like. Now it's kind of like rigging a swim bait or anything else on a jig head. Now you see here how the tail is a little bit farther back from how it should be straight up like this, but I like to have the tail a little bit facing out. I feel like it gives it a little bit more action in the water. Super cold out here. I'm gonna get out of here. Thank you all for watching. Leave me a comment in the comment section what kind of video you guys want me to do next. I'm open to anything. It's really cold out here, so I can't do a lot of fishing all day like I usually do. I can only go out for a couple hours now since it's so cold, but yeah, let me know what you guys want. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next one.